Why is Afghanistan headed towards war with all its neighbors? That's the question on many minds as we witness the unfolding complexities of regional politics. Nestled at the heart of Central Asia, Afghanistan finds itself at the crossroads of historical tensions, security concerns, socio-economic issues, and geopolitical rivalries. These factors, each powerful in its own right, are intertwined in a way that complicates the situation further. From long-standing territorial disputes to cross-border ethnic ties, from the pervasive drug trade to water resource disputes, from the refugee crisis to the influence of foreign powers, and from border security issues to economic instability, all of these elements contribute to the escalating tensions. Moreover, Afghanistan's strategic location amplifies these concerns, making it a focal point of geopolitical rivalries between major global powers. To fully grasp the gravity of the situation, let's delve into each of these factors to better understand the situation. Historical tensions are a major factor contributing to potential conflicts. As we delve into the annals of history, we find that Afghanistan has often been at odds with its neighbors, primarily due to territorial disputes and political interference. Let's take the Durand Line, for instance. This border demarcation, a relic of the British colonial era, separates Afghanistan from Pakistan. Yet, it has been a constant source of discord, with Afghanistan refusing to recognize it as a legitimate boundary. This refusal has led to numerous conflicts and standoffs over the years. Moreover, the line cuts right through the Pashtun tribal areas, adding an ethnic dimension to the tensions. Beyond this, Afghanistan's relations with its neighbors have been marred by allegations of political meddling, with claims of support to insurgent groups and attempts to influence Afghanistan's internal affairs. These historical issues continue to fuel tensions and mistrust today, laying the groundwork for potential conflicts as the region grapples with a new chapter in its tumultuous history. Security concerns, primarily due to the presence of various terrorist groups, significantly heighten the risk of conflict. In the heart of Afghanistan, groups such as ISIS-K have made themselves a bit too comfortable. Their presence is not only a threat to Afghanistan's internal security, but also sends shockwaves of instability throughout the region. Now let's talk about what this means for Afghanistan's neighbors. These groups do not operate in isolation. They are known for launching attacks across borders, turning neighboring countries into their battleground. Pakistan, Iran, and Central Asian states, for instance, have all been on the receiving end of these cross-border assaults, turning their concerns into palpable fear. But the challenges do not stop at preventing these attacks. The borders Afghanistan shares with its neighbors are porous, a characteristic that these groups exploit to their advantage. This lack of effective border security allows the unchecked movement of militants, turning these borders into gateways for conflict. Imagine a sieve unable to hold back the flow of water. The borders act in a similar fashion, unable to hold back the flow of these militants. This leads to an escalation in regional instability, with neighboring countries constantly on high alert. There's also another dimension to this issue. The unchecked movement is not limited to militants alone. It also involves refugees fleeing the conflict zones and smugglers who carry with them the promise of illicit trade. This further strains the relations between Afghanistan and its neighbors, adding more fuel to the already smoldering fire of conflict. In essence, the presence of terrorist groups like ISIS-K in Afghanistan creates a domino effect. Their actions within the country's borders have far-reaching consequences that extend well beyond Afghanistan, creating a ripple effect of instability and conflict in the region. The presence of these groups adds a volatile element to the regional dynamics. The security concerns they bring to the table are not easily dealt with and serve as a ticking time bomb, threatening to plunge Afghanistan and its neighbors into the abyss of war. Socioeconomic issues, including ethnic conflicts, the drug trade, water disputes, and the refugee crisis, are major sources of tension. Afghanistan's ethnic mosaic is a powerful factor in its relations with neighboring countries. The Pashtun population, for instance, straddles the Afghanistan-Pakistan border, leading to cross-border alliances and tensions. Similarly, the Hazara minority's ties with Iran can stoke sectarian conflicts, adding another layer of complexity to regional dynamics. In addition to ethnic and sectarian conflicts, the drug trade is a significant source of tension. Afghanistan is a major global producer of opium. This illicit trade not only destabilizes Afghanistan but also spills over into its neighbors. The flow of narcotics across borders fuels corruption, crime, and insurgency, straining relations with countries like Iran and Pakistan that grapple with the consequences of this trade. Water disputes also underscore the socio-economic tensions between Afghanistan and its neighbors. Afghanistan's plans to construct dams and develop its water resources have raised concerns in downstream countries like Iran and Pakistan. These nations depend heavily on shared water sources, and any alteration in water flow can have drastic effects on their agriculture and, by extension, their economies. Last but not least, the refugee crisis adds to the pressure. Ongoing conflict and economic instability in Afghanistan have triggered a massive exodus of refugees. This influx strains resources and infrastructure in host countries like Pakistan and Iran. Moreover, it creates social and political tensions as these countries grapple with the challenges of accommodating large numbers of refugees while dealing with their domestic issues. These socioeconomic issues exacerbate tensions and can potentially trigger conflicts. It's a complex web of issues that intertwines, creating a volatile situation where any spark might ignite a larger conflict. Geopolitical rivalries also play a crucial role in shaping Afghanistan's relations with its neighbors. The country's strategic location, at the crossroads of Central and South Asia, has made it a focal point of contention among regional and global powers. The United States, China, and Russia each have vested interests in the region, and their geopolitical rivalries can spill over into Afghanistan's relations with its neighbors. For instance, Pakistan and India, two nuclear-armed neighbors with a fraught relationship, have long been accused of using Afghanistan as a battleground for their proxy wars. This has further fueled instability and conflict in the region. China, with its economic might and the ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, is also asserting its influence in Afghanistan, aiming to secure its western borders and expand its economic reach. This has led to apprehensions among other regional players, particularly India, which views China's activities in the region with suspicion. Meanwhile, Russia, a former invader, remains a key player in Afghanistan, mainly through its influence in Central Asian states. Its strategic interests often clash with those of the U.S., adding another dimension to the geopolitical dynamics. Iran, another neighbor with a complex relationship with Afghanistan, has its own strategic and sectarian interests. It has been accused of supporting the Taliban to counter the influence of the U.S. and its allies. These geopolitical rivalries aren't just about power and influence. They're also about resources, trade routes, and security interests. They impact Afghanistan's relations with each of its neighbors in distinct ways, fueling conflicts and shaping alliances. So, while Afghanistan's potential conflicts with its neighbors may seem rooted in bilateral issues, they are often influenced by these broader geopolitical dynamics. The country finds itself caught in the crossfire of regional and global rivalries, with each power trying to sway the balance in its favor. These rivalries add another layer of complexity to the already intricate situation. In conclusion, the potential for conflict between Afghanistan and its neighbors is influenced by a host of factors. We've journeyed through a complex landscape of historical tensions, where territorial disputes and political interference have sowed seeds of discontent. The Durand Line, a bone of contention between Afghanistan and Pakistan, is but one example of the lingering echoes of history that cast long shadows on present relations. We've also ventured into the murky realms of security concerns, where the presence of terrorist groups like ISIS-K and the cross-border ethnic ties have created a volatile scenario. The spillover of conflicts from Afghanistan into neighboring countries due to these ties can act as a spark to ignite wider regional instability. Furthermore, we've delved into the socio-economic issues contributing to the discord. The massive opium trade, water disputes, and the refugee crisis are all elements that add fuel to the fire. The flow of narcotics and refugees across borders, coupled with the competition for water resources, can strain relations to breaking point. Finally, we've navigated the intricate web of geopolitical rivalries. The strategic location of Afghanistan has drawn in major global powers, each with their own interests and alliances. These complex alliances and hostilities can lead to a ripple effect, pushing Afghanistan's neighbors into the fray. Understanding these factors can provide a clearer picture of the complex dynamics driving Afghanistan toward potential conflicts with its neighbors.